Let's go.
Wednesday afternoon.
Right. So his analysis, and then he brings in, famous faces as well. Alan Shearer or whoever else he brings in.
Sure.
Yeah, Alan Shearer. I think Alan Shearer is a regular on there, aren't he?
Yeah.
And you think, well, would it make much of a difference if, Brock, for instance, if you presented it, so you sat there and you go, "Welcome to Match of the Day live," would people stop watching it? Would they lose viewers? I don't think so.
It's not that it's not going to lose viewers, right?
Okay.
People will not stop watching it.
Right.
But at the initial stage of that change,
Yeah.
People don't really, they say, "Oh, there's a difference." But as time goes on,
Yeah.
whoever is on it start doing it and becomes a regular, and the voice now becomes like normal. I say normal to people now. Unlike they're not hearing Lineker's voice anymore. This other voice is strange.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Then that voice, because before Lineker came in, somebody else was doing it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Somebody else was doing it. So before he gets on top of it, and people now get to recognize and realize or recognize that voice.
Yeah.
A little bit like until people get to
Okay.
fall in love with that voice.
Yeah.
Analysis comes in as well. So
yeah, okay.
There's nothing wrong with it, but
no.
If you have to change, you have to change. So life goes on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, bruv, you have something to add?
Yeah. When you asked me, would it make any difference if I took it over?
Yeah.
I think there would be huge records broken if I took it over. There'd be massive fans every week watching, and or it could go the other way. Completely, and I lose all their viewers. But actually, on the point of Gary Lineker and his job there, I mean, he doesn't do much of the analysis, does he? It's usually Shearer, Ian Wright, and one or two others. Yeah. And that also used to be Jermaine Genius, of course, and they reckoned he was the most likely guy to take it over. Yeah. But then he sort of fell foul of things in his own personal life, and that chance now looks to be gone for him. Yeah. But I pick up your point, Cuz, about do we need the analysis? Now, I think we probably all agree that Alan Shearer, particularly, is excellent at his analysis, and most of them are. I like Ian Wright. He's a bit different. He's a bit less regulated, a bit of a loose cannon, and I think that's a good thing to have on there. And I think Gary Lineker does what he does very, very well. He's got a sharp wit. He's usually got I'm assuming he writes them himself. He's got a good ending to the program where he makes a funny comment, and I think that's all good. But there's another school of thought, and I've spoken to a few people who think this. They could just want to watch the football, which is I think something you said. We don't necessarily need like 5 or 10 minutes of analysis between each game, because we're all watching the game. And we if we know anything about football, I guess we are making our own analysis and saying, well, they're not pressing high enough or whatever. So I'm not sure that we need the great detail of analysis. Now, probably some people like it, others don't, or others think it's perhaps a bit too much that they do for 2 or 3 of the games particularly. But they also run the risk of upsetting some of the current players. I mean, that can happen. I think on his podcast, Gary Lineker, he does a podcast with Shearer and 1 or 2 others, Micah Richards, I think. And after the last Euros, he called England's performance against Denmark, should we say S025E2, and then Harry came back at him and said he's so disappointed in that, particularly people who've worn the shirts, and Lineker was a very good England player, scored lots of goals, but Harry Kane was very upset that he came out and was calling an England performance what he said. So that's a risk pundits take. They can very easily upset current day professionals when they themselves were professionals and went through similar situations. So I'm not sure. I think a bit of punditry, couple of minutes of analysis, general comments would be fine as far as I'm concerned, and actually play a bit more of the matches. We don't need, I don't know, half of the programme.
Saw Femi and the ladies, Dr. Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday. So join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to Phantom, Dr. Glad.
Punditry, couple of minutes of analysis, general comments would be fine as far as I'm concerned, and actually play a bit more of the matches. We don't need, I don't know, half of the programme being taken up by people's opinions. So, yeah, there's a balance to be struck, I think.
Yeah. Well, I have a different take on that, actually, because I actually want the analysis, but I want you to present it. That was a joke. Right. Well, I want the analysis. I want the analysis, but I don't think it matters who does the analysis. Because, all right, so the cuts have been done by a bunch of producers. BBC has a lot of them. And then you can watch the cuts and freeze a frame, draw a line and say, well, you should have done this or you should have done that. They don't usually get it. They don't always get it right. Nobody always gets everything right. But they're there, they do a job, and we appreciate the job. But I'm saying it's a job that anybody can do. Anybody can do it. You can get any footballer, put them there, they'll do the job.
There must be a script, though. There must be a script to follow.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't want to agree anybody can do it.
No.
If you might be able to do a bit of anchor a show, but you must know what you're doing, and there must be gray areas, and there must be areas you cannot delve into and stuff like that. So there must be a script. You must follow a script.
All right. Okay. So let's stay on that. Let's stay on that argument of following a script, right? Gary Lineker, I don't remember him having any qualification in journalism, but yeah, it does.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
So couldn't they get somebody that perhaps has a qualification in journalism, for instance, to do the job? He knows what to avoid. He knows what not to say, and the co-anchors or co-hosts would, obviously do the heavy lifting. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I actually think it does make a difference who hosts it. I mean, it's like anything, isn't it? Any program, any stage show, people are drawn to people who do it very well. And I don't think so much. I mean, there's a format for Match of the Day, as there is for most programs, but I'm not sure there's actually a script as such. They follow their formats. But I think what Gary Lineker, and I'm not a great fan of the fact that he goes across into politics, with his tweets. That's up to him, but I'd rather he stick to what he knows best, which is the football. And I think he brings to Match of the Day some very, as I said just now, some very little nuggets of humour. Even the way he introduces pundits on there, he'll make some, as I say, some quite clever witticisms sometimes after a particular game or with someone's name or whatever. So I think personality-wise, he's very good at doing that job. I think what Femi said is right, that you know his voice. He's got a very laid-back approach to it. He's not all excited and jumping up and down. He's calm and he's very, very easy on the ear. There's no question about it. So in one way, I see what Femi means when you say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And there's something in that, of course. And sometimes when they've changed things, not dissimilar, when effectively they got rid of Sue Barker for Wimbledon. Now, she's been anchoring Wimbledon for many years. And a bit like the programme she was on, A Question of Sport, which I frankly gave up watching a long time ago because it got a bit boring. But she was very good, quite clearly, at doing that. that program, and also Wimbledon. There was you almost felt comfortable, like you were in her home or something like that, or she was in yours. Now they brought on they got rid of her and brought on, I can't remember the lady's name. She's also a very good presenter, but I don't think she's got the warmth that Sue Barker had. So I think that was a bad choice to make. It wasn't broken, so they broke it by trying to fix it. And same with this, it could be that whoever takes their place, I mean, Mark Chapman, and I suspect he may get the job eventually. I don't believe, you can correct me, either of you here, but I don't think he was a footballer. I think he's a journalist, maybe a previous commentator, something like that. If he was a footballer, then you'll have to forgive me. But even if he was not a top footballer. No. And as I say, I don't think he was.
Saw Femi and the ladies, Dr. Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday. So join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to fans.